Fred Hampton is someone that I have only recently started to learn about. I'd heard the name growing up, but never really looked into it before. And I am kind of upset because I've missed out on a lot of important things like the teaching of Fred Hampton, the Black Panther Party, Malcolm X, and these other figures that are really prominent in American history and not taught during they had their rise to prominence during the civil rights movement. Fred Hampton, though, I really, really have enjoyed learning about him. He was the deputy chairman of the Chicago, Illinois uh, chapter of the Black Panther Party. The thing that made him stick out was he was a revolutionary early on. He worked to so he was good at breaking down racial divides in Chicago. One thing he's really known for is creating the Rainbow Coalition, which was a multicultural union of different ethnic groups. So the Black Panthers met with the Young Lords and the Young Patriots. The Young Lords are a Puerto Rican group, and the Young Patriots were a Appalachian white group. They were a group of people that were opposed to each other, ideologies that should not mix in the way that we're taught in a traditional education. But these three were able to unite because Fred walked up and asked them simple questions. He asked if they had food, if they had clean drinking water, a warm place to stay, if they had clothing, if they had all the things that they needed. And as he looked around and he said they didn't have everything they needed, it became obvious to all members in this party that they were not enemies. That's what Fred said. We are not enemies, and our enemies are the ones who seek to oppress us. And we have a lot more in common than we have different. See, that type of ideology, that mindset is something that the government has always found to be dangerous because a unified class of people is someone that can stand up. It puts power back into the hands of the people. And when you have a community like that, it scares power because you can stand up to them. And that's something that's echoed throughout today. And um, Fred Hampton was assassinated. He was systematically taken out just like every other civil rights leader of the time. It was 4:45 a.m. on December 4th, 1969. Um, an informant that J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI got to had slipped Fred a sedative that night, and he went to sleep. And the informant also drew a detailed floor plan of the area that Fred was living in, as well as the other members of the Black Panthers that were in there. And at 4:45 a.m. that morning, the police showed up and they fired 100 shots into this apartment, and only one shot was fired in return. Fred barely was able to come into any consciousness, if any at all, and he was taken out. The police walked in, saw him, and said he's still barely alive. He might make it. And then the witnesses that were there that day report that they fired more shots and smiled and laughed, saying that Fred wasn't going to make it. And there are pictures of them carrying him out of that building and smiling. They were proud of what they did because Fred Hampton, at the time in the FBI, so these files have been declassified in the public. They refer to Fred Hampton as a possible black messiah due to his ability to bring people together and break down these divides that have been put into place because he was able to see through the manipulation and the propaganda. And once he was able to open up other people's eyes to that, the government really feared his ability to draw people together and stand against what everything they embodied. Basically, he was the antithesis of it. And I think that message is important to get out, and I think it's important to learn about these figures and what American history really is.